Viewers, those traveling via Delhi airport yesterday had a really tough time because a massive technical glitch disrupted air traffic across India. Now, Delhi airport handles over 1,500 flights daily. The chaos delayed around 800 flights and several got cancelled as well. The operations are back to normal as we speak. There was no cyber attack. We have learned that it was a technical glitch only. So let's try and explain to you what really happened. Well, there was a problem with AMSS. It was detected on 6th of November. AMSS is Automatic Message Switching System. Simply put, it is a communication link between ATC, the air traffic control, and the airlines. Suppose an airline plans to operate, say, 100 flights in a day. The details like timing, flight plans, etc. are shared with the ATC air traffic controller. Now, this information is passed on through a server. And AMSS is the system that is responsible for transferring flight plan data, etc. to the ATCs. Now, that system crashed and the air traffic controllers had to process this data manually. So, automation had to be abandoned and ATC switched to manual procedure. And that led to complete chaos and delay. Now, there are reports suggesting that necessary software upgrade was delayed that perhaps led to this kind of a technical glitch. There is no official word on the reasons yet. Reasons behind the technical glitch. Of course, officially, it has been confirmed that it was a technical glitch. But what caused that technical glitch? We don't know. A probe is currently underway. But was the glitch avoidable at perhaps the busiest airport in India is the question that many are asking. And how bad was the situation for the passengers? That's what we are going to be discussing over the next half an hour. And joining us on the broadcast are my guests. We have Parvez Damania, former executive who is joining us right now. We are also joined by, he's in fact former executive director KFA, and he's an aviation expert as well. Arushi Sana, who is a frequent flyer and an activist, also live with us. We are joined by Air Vice Marshal retired N. Vaidya, who is an ATC expert. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now this evening. Arushi Sana, I want to begin this discussion with you. Can you explain to our viewers, I believe your husband was stranded for about 8 hours yesterday because of this technical glitch?
Yes. That's right. Thank you for having me here today, Najee. So, the problem is that he was stranded for 8 hours and he could have easily just extended his hotel stay if he was told a little bit in advance that his flight that was coming from Delhi to Goa has been delayed. And he was flying from Goa to Nagpur. 2 of my relatives were also stranded at the Delhi airport and they had connecting flights abroad. So they missed that flight as well because they couldn't board the first one. And, see, technology and inconsistencies, they can't go hand in hand because I'm a computer science engineer. I do understand technology. I understand that glitches happen, but tech exists to remove those inconsistencies, right? And even if problems like these do arise, because a crisis never announces and comes. So it's not the lack of preparedness, it's the lack of mitigation. And the worst part is that at the airports, people that were stranded, they were not given any food or any, coupons or something, or even accommodation for that matter for like 8 hours or something. And a lot of them have just been they've been able to afford a flight ticket. We pay so much, we pay such inflated prices, and we have to pay 250 rupees extra for a basic seat also. And food in airports is very expensive anyway. So at least that could have been taken care of. Prior intimation could have been really taken care of. And it's not a policy issue, it's, I would say, more of an airline issue. Okay. Because when the staff doesn't inform you in advance, it blows up.
Okay. Interesting points you have made, and pertinent points also that you have raised here, Ms. Arushi Sana. I want to go across to Air Vice Marshal N. Vaidya as well. Sir, the points that Arushi made, I would like you to respond to those, because we're talking about, adopting AI, artificial intelligence in almost everything that we are doing. I mean, that's the focus right now. And here we have a system which automates a lot of work that the ATC is supposed to do manually. Suddenly there is a technical glitch. Some reports suggesting that perhaps a software upgrade that was long due did not happen, led to this kind of a technical glitch. I mean, are we even ready to adopt AI if we can't even handle something like this? I mean, why something like this happened in your opinion?
Neeraji, before I go to what Arushi ma'am said, I would like to say that as far as the AMSS is concerned, it's a part of the global messaging network system. And just to brief our viewers, it connects the entire global aviation network to this. The upgradation was to take place from the AFTL, called as Aeronautical Fixed Telecommunication Network, to something called as Air Traffic Services Message Handling System. And that upgradation hasn't taken place or is in the process of taking place when this happened. Now, I am not too certain at this point of time to say whether we should have done it many years ago, like the European countries have done, or not. It is for the Airport Authority of India to give a specific answer to this. But as far as this messaging system is concerned, what I am concerned about is that why was there no redundancy in the system when such a glitch happened? I was made to understand that something around 3 o'clock in the afternoon from Thursday onwards, the air traffic controllers in Delhi started finding delays in terms of processing the flight plans and other issues associated with the AMSS. And then it got full blown on Friday in the morning. What concerns me is in a country like India, which handles so much of aviation, and we have so much of availability of experts in terms of knowledge of software, why was such a system not having a redundancy to take over? My basic question was that. And in a country like India, it should not happen, not at all. As far as giving answer to Arushi is concerned, yes, the airlines unfortunately are not forthcoming when they give inputs to the passengers who are stranded on the ground, and they give a general answer is a technical glitch. Now, technical glitch means nothing. For a person like me who is traveling, who has been in the ATC for such a long time, it does not give any amplification as to what the exact cause and the reason is. I have many times told people, especially the airlines, that you must be forthcoming to give an answer to the passengers so they are mentally equipped to handle the delay.
Okay.
Saying that there is a technical glitch and then hiding behind these two words does not really give any comfort to the passenger.
Okay. Okay. Stay with us, sir. Mr. Parvez Damania, in a situation like this, there is a responsibility of the airlines as well.
I heard Arushi speak. Unfortunately, I could not hear the Air Vice Marshal for some reason. But Arushi is completely right in what she's saying. Certain technical problems cannot be avoided, whether it be the airline or the ATC or the systems. So certain technical problems will keep coming. These technical problems have come at airports all over the world. So that unfortunately will happen from time to time. But at the same time, the consumer should have been looked after. Communication breakdown is the worst thing possible as far as the passenger is concerned. The passenger should have been updated time to time. Feedback should be given. And by the standards laid down by the government, at 2 hours this should be given, 4 hours this should be given, so many hours a hotel should be given, should have been followed. Here, I do not hold the airport responsible, but I hold the individual airline absolutely responsible for lack of communication, lack of looking after their passengers. I've always said this, and the airline has to remember that their success story in India is due to the tremendous support of the consumer in India. And it is their duty, their job to look after the passenger. 8 hours is a very, very heavy delay. And I'm sure if you follow the consumer guideline, the standards are very clearly defined. And according to those defined standards, Arushi, the airlines should have followed those standards and supported the passenger. It must have been a terrible chaos. The consumer waiting at the airport for 8 hours is not forgivable. People missing their connecting flight should be compensated. So I do not know how the airline will make up all this, but at the same time, there is no excuse for poor quality service and lack of communication.
Absolutely. And Arushi, all this at a time when we have to pay for everything as an air traveler. I mean, for seat selection also, given the number of airlines that we have in India, for seat selection also we have to pay extra because, hardly few seats are available which are free when we are doing the web check-in. Meals are quite expensive, and this is perhaps the least that one can expect is proper communication. Can you explain to us if, what kind of communication was there from the airline side, from the airport side, to your husband who was the passenger, who was stranded because who was a victim of this technical glitch and the chaos, one of the victims?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say, that I'm not saying that problems can't arise. Of course they will. We live in a very fast-paced world. But as such big airlines, we need to take a little bit of accountability for what went wrong on our part and what can we do best to do complete justice to the fares and to the amounts that people have paid for these flights, to the web check-ins they've done, and just sort of help it make it should be a little easy for them. Travel can't be completely hassle-free, I think, anywhere in the world. It's not an Indian problem, like flights are delayed, people are stranded at airports all across the world. So, but I think as airlines, you just need to be a little bit empathetic towards the problems that travelers are facing. Give them a bit of give them some food, give them some compensation and timely compensation. Not like you have to keep chasing them.
Arushi, you are an activist, so I'm telling you, the government rules, the consumer guideline rules as far as airlines are concerned are very clearly defined. So the consumers there, the passengers should have demanded those rights as what they are expected to deliver.
Okay, clarity there. I stand corrected. She's not an activist. She's just a frequent flyer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But a consumer, a well-informed consumer who definitely can question the airlines.
An activist or a consumer or a frequent flyer, the same rules apply. There can be no excuse. There can't be different rules for an activist and different rules for a consumer. What the consumer is entitled to, the consumer should get. At minimum is, see, again we are saying, in the kind of fast-moving world, there will be weather delays, there will be cancellations, there will be fog in Delhi, there will be certain issues and delays will occur, whichever the airline, wherever in the world, whichever the airport. New York airports have shut down, Chicago airports. But at the same time, it is the duty of the airlines to look after their consumer and passenger. That is not forgivable. There's no excuse for not looking after.
Absolutely. Those are very important points that have been made. Yes, Arushi and Mr. Parvez Damania, stay on with us. I want to go back to, my other guest as well, Air Vice Marshal N. Vaidya, who continues to be with us. Now, I was looking at more details as far as the story is concerned. So, in fact, in August only this year, we have learnt that, there was a parliamentary standing committee on transport that had called for a comprehensive time-bound overhaul of the ATC automation systems. The committee had warned that outdated technology poses operational and safety challenges, particularly at high-density airports such as Delhi and Mumbai. Now, this was highlighted by a parliamentary standing committee in August. In November, we have seen a chaotic situation like that because of a technical issue. Some kind of a upgrade perhaps did not happen. So shouldn't heads roll? Shouldn't people be held accountable, sir? Because something was flagged in August, just a couple of months ago. And now see, we are seeing the result. So it just can't be a technical issue, a technical glitch, and things move on next day onwards just because today things are back to normal and hence it's okay.
Hinaji, parliamentary standing committee going and checking about the airport status in terms of the communication and flagging it in August. I'm sure the issues would have been there much earlier, because of which the parliament standing committee was made.
Absolutely. And if issues, actually have been existing before August also, then why till November nothing was done? Why shouldn't action be taken against those people who were supposed to, fulfill their duties?
I am completely with you on this point, where action has to be taken against people who were responsible for upgradation and they have not upgraded it. Just to keep you in picture, as far as the AMSS is concerned, while this abbreviation may be a standard format throughout the International Civil Aviation Organization, the system that we have obviously needs complete upgradation. I am not too sure as to how old old the system is, but I remember that this was introduced sometime in the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. So if that is so, and they have done routine upgradation and not changed the system dramatically or drastically the way it should be done to meet international standards as designed by the International Civil Aviation Organization, then yes, there are people who are responsible for it and their heads have to be rolled. And across the board, whether it's not just the technical people who are responsible to make the system happen, but those in the bureaucracy and the offices who are responsible to ensure that this happens in good time should also be held responsible. Just to keep our viewers updated as to what the AMSS is all about. Basically, Hinaji, all aircraft, when they are flying from one aerodrome to the other, have to file a flight plan. The flight plan contains details of the aerodrome of departure, the aerodrome of arrival, the fuel that the aircraft is carrying, the endurance, the alternative aerodrome, the route that it is taking, the level that it is flying at, the speed. In crux, it contains the whole lot of what the aircraft is supposed to do when it is moving from one aerodrome to the other. Now, this, when it is done automatically, the people in the control, whether it be the area control, the approach control, or the aerodrome control who are functioning there, come to know about the details of this flight. And then they can sequence as well as do efficient controlling of the aircraft.
Right.
When this does not happen, to fall back into manual and when there are out is extremely difficult.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Parvez Damania, same question to you. You know, this issue was flagged, and like Sir just now mentioned, Air Vice Marshal N. Vaidya, that if this was flagged by the Parliamentary Standing Committee in August, then this must have been going on for quite some time. And why nothing really was done? Shouldn't action be taken against those people? Because it's very easy to say probe has been ordered, but we never find out what happens after probe is ordered.
Ina, I assure you nothing will happen. No heads will roll. In some time, everything will be forgotten and people will carry on as normal. So, yes, the government should probe and the government should take action, but that really very, very rarely happens. Let us hope that this government and the new civil aviation minister takes active interest, which he is taking, and takes action against people responsible. But in the past, we've seen that in these kind of situations, action is never really taken. The buck is just passed from one person to the other.
Well, we really hope it doesn't happen this time, because promises, of course, have been made. And thank you very much. I'm completely out of time, but we'll be tracking the story very closely ahead as well. Mr. Parvez Damania, Ms. Arushi Sana, and Air Vice Marshal N. Vaidya, appreciate all for joining us on this debate. Moving on,